So AARO, the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, so the U.S. DoD's UFO investigation arm, has just released the analysis of a metallic specimen synopsis from Oak Ridge National Laboratory. We'll go through it shortly. Just be advised, AARO has, from the get-go, basically minute one, has been totally skeptical of any sort of ET alien involvement. Everything they have released has been to debunk any claims of non-human intelligence or extraterrestrial involvement. So don't get your hopes up, but it'll be interesting to see what happens from this. Greenwald posted, DoD analysis on an alleged extraterrestrial ally was done by Oak Ridge National Labs. Interesting point here, Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick, former head of AARO, most likely was in charge of contracting at the time. So Sean Kirkpatrick, who seems extremely skeptical and has been much demised by the UFO community, he has since retired from AARO and was hired by Oak Ridge National Labs. And you cannot make this stuff up. He was hired by Oak Ridge National Labs. Amazing. John makes a further interesting point that those who can refute these findings by AARO and reveal a massive cover-up in relation to this specific case are To the Stars Academy, To the Stars Media Earth Files, Dr. Hal Puthoff, and Lou Elizondo, who was the principal investigator listed on the CRADA. So as Greenwald says, I hope they do refute it if they can, or if they agree now in 2024 with AARO's findings, I hope they say so, and we can all move on from this specific story. It has lingered for many years, and literally tens of thousands of dollars have exchanged hands with the ownership of the material that we know of, because the Army also did independent from Oak Ridge, investigated it. So John says, time to put this to rest or blow the cover-up wide open, whichever it is. So we'll go through the report now and see, could this be a flashpoint to actually determine that it's not real, or blow open the cover-up wide open, as Greenwald says. Thanks for being here. Please hit the like button, really helps the channel, and subscribe for future content.
Chris Lehto, welcome to LehtoFiles.
Synopsis analysis of a metallic specimen. Not that long a report. Oak Ridge National Laboratory. Introduction. The All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office sponsored a series of measurements on a layered material specimen primarily composed of magnesium and zinc with bands of bismuth and other co-located trace elements. The material specimen, whose origin and purpose are of long and debated history, is claimed to be recovered from an unidentified anomalous phenomena crash in or around 1947. So could this be from Roswell, claimed Roswell crash material? Furthermore, the specimen's physiochemical properties are claimed to make the material capable of inertial mass reduction, so i.e. levitation or anti-gravity functionality, possibly attributable to the material's bismuth and magnesium layers acting as a terahertz waveguide. So where are we at in terahertz signal processing? This is an article from 8 February 2022, and waveguides play a pivotal role in the full deployment of terahertz communication systems, but we're pretty limited, right? Besides signal transporting, innovative terahertz waveguides are required to provide versatile signal processing functionalities. So it sounds like you can do some signal transporting, but we still need innovative terahertz waveguides to do any sort of versatile signal processing functionality. We're still not there yet, basically. So back to the report. Previously, U.S. Army Combat Capabilities Development Command, DEVCOM, established a cooperative research and development agreement, so that's a CRADA, with To the Stars Academy to evaluate the feasibility of exploiting any potential disruptive technology associated with this widely discussed specimen. So we'll see Lou Elizondo was basically one of the investigating officers in that CRADA, Cooperative Research and Development Agreement. AARO, founded in 2022, is congressionally mandated to explore historical records of UAP incidents and publicly report its findings. Yes, congressionally mandated, not by the DoD, but it seems to be run by the DoD. Although the long chain of custody for the specimen cannot be verified, public and media interest in the specimen warranted a transparent investigation that adhered to the scientific method. So public and media interest in the specimen. Subsequent to the TTSA DevCom CRADA, say that 5 times, AARO secured science and technology partner Oak Ridge National Laboratory, one of 17 U.S. Department of Energy national laboratories, to independently assess and perform thorough characterization studies on the specimen, leveraging Oak Ridge's 80-year history of world-leading material science expertise. So here is the actual specimen blown up. Oak Ridge, an expert in materials characterization, has the diverse staff expertise and co-located powerful instrumentation suites to allow rigorous scientific inquiry beyond the capabilities of most individual laboratories. Therefore, it's a highly qualified institution to maintain scientific integrity in its unbiased analysis of this specimen and its property. That just hired Kirkpatrick, unbiased, just hired Kirkpatrick. AARO tasked Oak Ridge with assessing whether the specimen is of terrestrial origin and the bismuth in the specimen could act as a terahertz waveguide. So that's what they asked. And as John Greenwald said, when they actually tasked Oak Ridge, AARO was probably run by Sean Kirkpatrick. DevCom Ground Vehicle System Center provided Oak Ridge access to the metallic specimen, a single parent example and 3 previously derived subsamples, all from the same material, beginning in February 2023. So that's when Kirkpatrick was still there as well. Oak Ridge Material Science Analysis evaluated the sample structure, chemical composition, and isotope ratios via multiple methods, including microscopy, spectroscopy, and spectrometry. Results align with previous DevCom analysis, indicating that the structure and composition of the bismuth layers do not meet the requirements necessary to serve as terahertz waveguide. Furthermore, all data strongly support that the material is terrestrial in origin. So I think those are the facts. So basically, their findings are that it is terrestrial in origin and it could not actually even work as a terahertz waveguide based on their analysis. So methods. All analysis and materials utilization were authorized and overseen by To the Stars Academy. And all analysis were pre-approved by AARO and DevCom before Oak Ridge received the specimen. Okay, so morphology and microstructural characteristics were investigated using the following techniques: optical microscopy, so standard microscope analysis; computerized tomography, aka a CT scan, that's X-ray imaging procedure that produces a 3D image of the sample without damaging it; a scanning electron microscope, so they used energy dispersive X-ray spectroscopy technique that produces 2D images at higher resolution to allow analysis of microstructure and elemental makeup. They use a scanning transmission electron microscope, so energy dispersive X-ray spectroscopy. They pass high energy electron beam through a thin foil of the sample, allowing analysis of the crystal structure, grain, feature morphology, and defects, as well as an elemental makeup, all with nanometer to sub-nanometer resolution. Okay, they also did analysis of the bulk chemical, elemental, and isotopic composition. So they looked at the isotopes using mass spectrometry techniques, and that's really to identify the elements, their abundance within a sample, and their isotopic composition. So I'm guessing that's how they determined that it was terrestrial in nature. Traceable quality control standards and method blanks were run throughout all analysis to monitor sample integrity and instrument performance. Okay. So the results: morphology and structure. Data are consistent across multiple imaging approaches, showing that the material consists of distinct layers that merge and diverge at various points throughout the material. Interfaces showed fractures and other features that Oak Ridge determined are consistent with a material that was originally whole, but was strained by heat exposure and mechanical forces, possibly for extended periods. Figure 2 shows images of the specimen constructed using CT. So I think they're showing here, the bottom right, the edge with probable heat damage. Looks like heat damage here. And the layer nature of the material is what they wanted to show. far as the chemical composition, analysis using scanning electron microscope determined that magnesium and zinc are the primary elements present in the specimen, comprising approximately 97.5% and 2% of the material, respectively. So it's 97.5% magnesium and 2% zinc. Minor elements detected in Table 1 were lead and bismuth, with lesser trace amounts of iron and manganese. Inductively coupled plasma mass spectrometry, the most sensitive analysis technique performed, additionally revealed the presence of small amounts of cadmium, thallium, gold, molybdenum, tin, and barium. If a detected element abundance fell beneath the lower bound of the calibration curve or below the method detection limit, then the element was not displayed in Table 1. So backscattered electron image and energy dispersive X-ray spectrometry, EDS maps from one subsample. This is the carbon map indicates the embedded epoxy. The magnesium matrix is clearly visible, it says. So you can actually see the matrix of magnesium along with the cracks in the matrix. So actually seeing the cracks in the actual solid matrix, so how it's formed. The zinc maps shows regions of higher and lower zinc content, so in the layers. And at the top of the lead and bismuth maps, co-located layers are visible. So crystalline structures now, how the solid's actually made. So all solids have some sort of internal crystal structure, right? I was a material science major in university, so at the Air Force Academy. It's been obviously 24 years since I really studied material science, but that is my major. So TEM, electron microscope, revealed that the crystalline structure of magnesium in the specimen was consistent with common magnesium alloy structures. So they say that the way the magnesium is broken out is normal for common magnesium alloy structures. Laser ablation revealed banding of zinc components along with layered collocation of lead and bismuth in the bands. The bismuth-rich portions of the specimen lacked a clear crystalline structure, instead appearing to consist of highly nanocrystalline pockets in an otherwise amorphous matrix. So pure single crystalline bismuth in a single thin layer has been postulated to have the ability to function as a waveguide, a material that can disrupt or direct an electric or energy field, in this case, terahertz waves. So that's the argument, is that the bismuth in a super fine, thin layer is able to act as a terahertz wave. This is the speculative argument. So electromagnetic waves with microscale wavelengths, very small. Although the damage to the specimen, including suspected heat stress, precludes a definitive statement describing the specimen's original structure, the amorphous and nanocrystalline appearance of the bismuth in the examined layers of the current specimens likely indicates that a pure crystalline layer of bismuth was never present within the material. So Oak Ridge analysis says the amorphous and nanocrystalline appearance of the bismuth indicates that a pure crystalline layer, so that one perfect crystal layer of bismuth, thin layer, was never present in the material. They continue, moreover, the postulated structure of such a theoretical bismuth-based waveguide requires it to be in a single layer between a material possessing a different dielectric constant. However, multiple bismuth layers throughout a material have not been postulated to be capable of achieving or improving this waveguide functionality. In fact, multiple layers could instead interfere with such functionality. Thus, the layered nature of the impure bismuth within the specimen likely precludes it from acting as a waveguide. So they say is not only is there no thin layers in a perfect crystalline structure that could act as waveguides, but it's layered. And they say layers of bismuth, they argue, would interfere with this sort of terahertz waveguide option. And they finish here, finally, based on the postulated hypothetical uses of bismuth, the dielectric properties necessary for bismuth to function as a waveguide would have been disrupted in this material because the bismuth in the specimen is co-located and mixed with lead. Based on these findings, Oak Ridge determined that this material is highly unlikely to have ever functioned as a bismuth-based terahertz waveguide. Okay, and this is from the side, is basically saying that the layers of blue here in bismuth, right, there's multiple layers of bismuth, and so that would interfere with it being used as a terahertz waveguide. It's their argument. Okay, the final section is on isotope analysis. So multi-collector ICP analysis showed that the specimen's magnesium and lead isotope composition is consistent with other materials manufactured and used terrestrially. So this is the figure you see right here. I'll show figure 7 in a minute. Isotopes are varying forms of the same element with differing mass, and their proportions affect the chemical properties and reveal information about the history of the material within which the isotopes are found. All elements have isotopes, and the ratio between the amounts of various isotopes is called the isotopic signature, which is akin to a fingerprint in chemical analysis. So that's why they look for isotopic ratios, and some interesting isotopic ratio could be an indicator, a fingerprint of an extraterrestrial item. The magnesium isotopic signature of the specimen is fractionated, possibly owing to the mechanical and heat strain that the material appears to have undergone, but falls within normal terrestrial compositions and precisely within the expected trend lines of fractionation. So that reference here to figure 6, expected trend line of fractionation. So that's what they say. It was broken, and so it's falling right along the broken fractionation line. So they're explaining it because it was essentially fractured. That's why it's coming up with a weird isotopic ratio. Each star system has a magnesium isotopic composition that was inherited from its local star-forming region. Figure 6 shows the magnesium isotopic signature of various materials originating within our solar system. The straight lines in the bottom graphic representation are the kinetic and equilibrium mass fractionation trend lines, which define the types of isotopic shifts incurred on the basis of mass. Fractionation occurs due to chemical reactions and physical processes, e.g. manufacturing and mining, and is normal during the lifespan of natural and manufactured materials and their components. The materials in Figure 6, including the specimen, fall on or near the fractionation trend lines, strongly indicating that their starting compositions were once the same and have been systematically changed as a result of mass fractionation. If a material originated outside our solar system, its magnesium isotopic signature could plot nearly anywhere in the top graphic representation of Figure 6. Instead, the specimen's data plots precisely within the expected fractionization trend lines for known compositions specific to our solar system. So that's their argument. You can see Earth here, as well as other materials. And interesting to me is meteorites is right here with Earth. So it must be coming from our solar system. That's why meteorites would be in the same place as Earth. You know, Oumuamua, as far as we understand, and I guess there's some controversy, Oumuamua was the first extrasolar object. And that's why Avi Loeb was looking for IM2. So another meteor crashed into Earth, he said could be extrasolar based on its speed, direction, where it's coming from. So its isotope should plot somewhere else. So not on this line. They're saying isotopic ratio of magnesium. So the magnesium isotope aligns. What about other isotopes? Would that make a difference? And then this fractionization of sample A. So they put sample A, it says it falls right on the line of fractionation. So that is interesting. Less complexly, they continue. The lead isotopic signature of the specimen is fully consistent with common lead, compositions that exist naturally on Earth and within terrestrial material. So this is the figure you're looking at now. Distinctly separate from even lunar materials, indicating it is extremely likely that the material originated on Earth. So they say that the lead isotope ratio was even more conclusive and basically aligns more with terrestrial Earth-based isotopic ratios than even the moon. So I think you're seeing here, right? So isotopic ratio 207 to 206, and this is 204 to 206. So the x-axis is lead 204 related to lead 206, and the vertical axis is lead 207 related to lead 206. And what's interesting here is the lunar glasses are way over here on the left. So they have basically 0 isotopes of 204 related to 206. So basically 0 of 204. but they do have, and they have less than Earth-based materials of 207 related to 206. So they're not aligned with the chart, and they say sample that they're looking at is aligned right here, so in line with, right in the middle of terrestrial objects. That's what they say based on the lead isotopic ratio. It aligns with terrestrial material. Okay, short conclusion here. AARO secured Oak Ridge National Laboratory to independently assess the requirements necessary to confirm or contest public claims that this historical specimen is of non-terrestrial origin and that it is capable of functioning as a bismuth-based terahertz waveguide. Although the origin, chain of custody, and ultimate purpose of the specimen remain unclear, a modern and robust analysis of its chemical and structural composition and properties does not indicate that its origin is non-terrestrial, nor do the data indicate that the material examined ever had the pure single and crystalline bismuth layer that could possibly have acted as a terahertz waveguide. The intended or actual past use of the material remains undetermined, but Oak Ridge has a high level of confidence that all data indicate the material was manufactured terrestrially, albeit using an uncommon mixture of elements by today's standards, and then incurred damage caused by mechanical and heat stressors. Okay, so interesting conclusion there. What I found important is they say, albeit using an uncommon mixture of elements by today's standards. So it sounds like they still don't know where it came from or how the material was manufactured, if it's an uncommon mixture of elements by today's standards. So they didn't analyze that, right? They analyzed, could it actually be used as a terahertz waveguide through that bismuth crystalline structure, right? Which they found that could not be the case. And they determined it was made through terrestrial materials, so made basically on Earth. But seems kind of specific, kind of narrow in their view, right? Could it have been used for anything else? What was it used for? What was it made? So they couldn't identify it. So that's interesting. They couldn't identify it. But they did say that the isotopic ratios seem normal for terrestrial elements, and they don't think it could be used as a terahertz waveguide. So according to Oak Ridge, which again, Sean Kirkpatrick went to work for after he left AARO, they don't think it is a UAP material, and certainly they don't believe it could be used for terahertz waveguide. But as John Greenwald said, it'd be very interesting to hear responses from Lou Elizondo. Will it be in his book? Anything about this? What about To the Stars Academy? Tom DeLonge, Hal Puthoff, all those guys. So curious to hear, can we get a final answer? Do they refute this analysis or do they support it? And either way, we'll know. Thank you for watching. Please hit the like button. It really helps and it's free. Consider subscribing to get future notifications of when I release videos. And you might like this video. If you want to support the channel, join these great people over here, get exclusive bonus content, then click this button here, patreon.com/Chris Lehto, or become a YouTube member. If you want to continue the discussion, go to UAPSociety Discord. Links are all in the description. Have a great rest of your day. Peace.